All right, 1102, here we are with our fourth week of the final quarter of the term, our 1102 half. Um, so, what do we have this week? This week we have, so we had our paper last week on A Good Man is Hard to Find. Okay, you all, as of seeing this video, have submitted that by the deadline of Sunday the 5th by 11:59 p.m. And this week we have stories to read. We're kind of backtracking a little bit. The Flannery O'Connor short story was in chapter 11. That is the style, tone, and language section. But we're going to go back and pick up from where we left off with reading, which was chapter 7, plot. Now we're going to chapters 8, 9, 10, and 12. Only one story per chapter, so it sounds like a lot of chapters. One story per chapter. Now, some of the stories are on the longer side. Chapter 8, we are reading The Girl with Bangs by Zadie Smith, and that is the story on which your journal assignment this week is based. All I did was I got the journal assignment from that story, okay? At the end of the story, there's a journal entry question. All I did was copy and paste that into our journal, and that is what we're actually doing for our journal assignment. Remember, the last journal assignment we had was 2 weeks ago. We had a blog opportunity last week, so now we're back to our journal for this week. But that's not it. I've also copied and pasted other questions, discussion questions from the other stories, and there's an attachment in week 4, Shell 2, week 4. It's in there, so you have questions, answers to submit for the questions. Okay, they are devoted to the story from the setting chapter, chapter 9. The story there is by Sherman Alexie. This is what it means to say Phoenix, Arizona. Chapter 10 by Richard Wright, Big Black Good Man. Questions there. And then for chapter 12, Shirley Jackson, her story, The Lottery. By the way, if you have Netflix, there is a series on Shirley Jackson's based on her book, The Haunting of Hill House. That series on Netflix, if you haven't seen it yet, is based on Shirley Jackson's novel. So a little fun fact there. But the story, The Lottery, is going to be there are questions for that as well. Okay. All in all, I think I have 7 questions, and that's including the journal entry. Okay. So I know it seems like a lot of reading, but in terms of what you need to do for answering questions, it's really no more than what we had done a couple weeks ago for the 2 plot short stories. The Neil Gaiman one, and the William Faulkner short stories. Okay? So that's what we got this week. Also, it's a good thing to do to start reading Hamlet. Okay? Now, that is in our book. That is going to be in the drama section, which is the last unit of the text. That is going to be here, beginning in chapter 28, Character, having to do with drama. And it begins on page 1043, okay? Now, Hamlet, Shakespeare plays, in general, are toughies, as you know. Why? The language has changed, but also Shakespeare very much uses a lot of metaphor and images. He's very poetic, even in his plays. And a lot of the images, metaphors, similes, a lot of the figurative language is a little dated. We might not recognize what he's talking about. Use your footnotes in the text to help you out there. But what I want us to focus on is Act 3, Scene 1, the most famous soliloquy in all of drama, in all of literature: to be or not to be? That is the question. That little soliloquy is going to serve as the basis, the focus on which our final research essay will be based. Okay? So right now, of course, you read the play when you're not working on other things, you have some downtime. Now, in a couple weeks, it's not going to be downtime. You will have had to have read the play and done some research in Galileo, okay? But for right now, read the play And it's a good idea to go to Act 3, Scene 1, and look at that soliloquy, to be or not to be. What is he saying? If you had to put that soliloquy into your own words, what is he saying? Okay, and a soliloquy, if you don't know, is during a play when an actor speaks on stage. He's not addressing anybody. He's just delivering a speech all unto himself, okay, alone, as it were. Now, Ophelia comes into the room. I believe Polonius and Ophelia bookend their appearances, bookend that soliloquy. But Hamlet is speaking to himself, okay? But what is he saying there? If you had to break that down, okay, and put it in your own words, to be or not to be, that is the question. To exist, to live, to die. Remember what Hamlet is facing here. The ghost of his father comes to him and says, "Avenge me, your uncle killed me." Okay? And he figures that out, and Hamlet is a character of thought and little action, of course, until the end of the play. There's quite a lot of action, quite a lot of death and killing, and therein lies the tragic element at the end of the play. I won't spoil it for you. But Hamlet is kind of an overthinker, okay? He's too much in his head. He's kind of hyper-analytical, okay? He might remind you of yourself or of the culture today. As a culture, do we overthink things, kind of analyze things into the dust, okay? So just a little primer there on that soliloquy for you guys. But you should be reading the play, and you should certainly focus on that. I'm going to have a more together, cohesive research question for you guys, but it's going to be based on that soliloquy, Act 3, Scene 1. Okay? So that's what we got this week, guys. Our questions, the journal, okay, based on the Zadie Smith short story, The Girl with the Bangs. I took one of the journal questions from the book, copied and pasted it there, and then select questions from the story in Chapter 9, the Sherman Alexie story, Chapter 10, the Richard Wright story, questions in Chapter 12, the Shirley Jackson story. Other than that, read Hamlet, get to that soliloquy, try to break it down, okay? Otherwise, let's talk about access issues with the ebook, okay? The version of this text that is in Blackboard. Now, when you guys open Blackboard, when you go to lessons, the link is there. It says Composition and Literature either 42228 or 44136, depending on what Blackboard section you're in. Now, you should be able to click in there and be able to access it. Now, if you are given initially temporary access, make sure that you are going to your Gordon County school email address. Mr. Churchwell says that is where he delivered all this information to you all, how to access the text. Don't try to access the text by going to the Cengage website. It should be there for you in Blackboard. I've integrated the course. I had and I did this last semester at the beginning before this time last semester, so this was around October. I had one of the representatives on the phone with me, and she walked me through how to integrate it. So it's all there, okay? If you're having trouble, it's because you're either trying to log on with a temporary password or something related to that. And I understand it's frustrating, okay? Not being able to do your work is a pain, okay? Because you're graded on it, okay? Now, that's why I've done the best that I can do in copying and pasting the discussion questions, giving you guys links to the stories. I'm not giving you links to the stories this week, okay? You guys should be able to access the text. If you can't, go to your Gordon County school email address. Also, guys, when I email you, I'm doing that through Blackboard. I've been giving you guys over the past week the help number for Cengage, the 800 number. You shouldn't have to need a course key, they tell me, okay, because the course is integrated into our Blackboard course. So you shouldn't need a course key, but I've given that to you anyway, okay? I communicate with you all when I send a class-wide email. It's done through Blackboard. So I don't know if you all have a separate email inbox that is unrelated to Blackboard, and then unrelated to your Gordon County school email address. But make sure you're checking all the different email extensions that you have. It'd be great if they were all linked together. But if they're not, make sure that you are going into Blackboard, going into your Gordon County School email extension, okay? So guys, that's it for this week. We have questions. We have some Hamlet to read. If you have any questions about the play, let me know. If you have any questions about anything, let me know. When you guys email me, now that we're all on lockdown till who knows when, during the day, especially during the first half of the day, I'm pretty much glued to my laptop, okay? And I'm checking emails. I have it up right now. As soon as I see an inbox alert that someone's emailed me, I go there and I try to resolve it as quick as I can, okay? If you email me in the evening, especially at night, I'm less likely to check it then. I'm most active in my day in the morning, okay? I'm a morning person. I get up. I like to get all my stuff done as best I can before I go take my 5-mile walk, to kind of clear my head. But evenings, it's a little less active. So guys, make sure you are, especially in the mornings. But email me if you need any help, okay? That's going to be it, everybody. That's our week 4. Hope you guys are doing well, staying sane, staying safe and healthy too. And I'll talk to you again next week. Bye-bye, everybody.